All right. So this is the conversation between me and Dr. Karen Chilran. So we'd like to, as a mathematicians, we'd like to develop our especially programming skills depending on our interest, either leading to the industry direction or take some benefit for the academic career. But especially we just wanna develop the certain programming skills in a systemical way by just organizing certain study in a regular basis. So, and Karen already shared me some ideas how to develop the programming skills. And I first let me suggest what I am currently thinking so that the people, especially from the mathematics academic, can also join in without any burden. Um, there are a few things I think I need to address. Number one, so probably including myself. So most of the pure mathematicians have no programming background before, so that they are really like the have no issue for understanding the mathematical languages of the applied like any articles, but the real issue is about the programming skills. That's one part. And another part is really subtle. So I am not sure that this would be quite in common, but at least in my case, the real issue is that even we might be able to learn the programming skills nicely, but we might not really like it because we cannot see how it can be connected to what we have actually put the effort in the territory of the mathematics. So in some sense, not only like the portfolio of our career. So we intentionally want to see how to connect what we try to learn from the perspective of the each of us as mathematics that we really actually care at least before, but somehow we want to link what we actually really found fascinating to the applied field, even though that should be just a partial. That's another part. And also so that's currently what I am thinking. So based on it, so if you have no other like the objections or comments, then let me just directly jump into my suggestion. So first, so either cases, we first get at least one programming language together, and the common language must be Python. I think there should be no doubt for that. So as Karen suggest me, so I think we can directly jump into, for example, the website of the Code Academy, for example. I'm not talking about the service which one need to pay. I'm just talking about the very basic concepts of the Python first, so that there are around 50 articles for each concept, so that we can just naively just take a look at it. And for example, if we try to study together by organizing the study from next week, then we can just really just naively just read each articles, but try to read all of them as much as possible, so that at least we can just catch up each like the abstract, like the notions and the concepts and the example, and pretty much that's it. Because we can make our own training by just try to do something or try to solve some concrete problems and try to struggle with it, not just thinking about the philosophical meaning of each terminologies or so on and so on. We actually, well, of course, we might care, but so in terms of the effort and the resources that we should put, so it might be just better to just read those articles as soon as possible and just move on. But at least we can just use the Code Academy as just a primary resources for the beginners for the Python. That's first suggestion. And I believe that it should less than around a month to just briefly read it. I'm not requiring each participants of the study group to understand thoroughly. I'm just saying we can just briefly just skim through of each like the article. Simply that's it. And it's definitely fine to just forget about everything, but at least we skim through this each like the concepts at least one time. That's the only requirement. So suppose that's not the case. So after spending like around a month, then we at least skim through the basic concepts of the Python. And as we all know, so that we can take the benefit from the ChatGPT or whatsoever, so that if it seems like useful, then we can just make the comment to just make the code. We know how to do it. But at the same time, we also want to make the training for the programming skills. So in that sense, I think we can take a look at also another guidance suggestion that is about, let me just look at it. So this one. I think this is also very common for the direction of the industry, like the interviews, in a sense that I just count the numbers of the problems here, where was it? Yeah, more than 1,000 problems here. Why I could not find it? Yeah, here we go. So there is the link of the problem sets, and one can find the the problem. Of course, the solution and some services one need to pay for it, but it seems not really necessary though, so that one can see that there are more than 3,000 problems. And in my personal opinion, because the level of the difficulties varies, and I just do not wanna just make the study for the temporary the period. I wanna study in a stable the basis, so that if we are too busy, or suppose one of for example, one of us to get the dream a job offer, so that one wanna still focus on have the priority, but still I'd like to just preserve this study so that we can just keep trying to study the programming skills in a long run. So in order to do it, I think 5 to 7 problems would be like the ideal number that we can go over in a weekly basis. So, but the number can be changed depending on the problems or the specific context. But we might just, for example, define each week. So if the study becomes the weekly basis, then we can just set from 5 to just 7 problems, and we can just try to look at it and try to just think about each of the problems and just share what we have actually tried to understood. So that's my suggestion. So that in that sense, so we might be able to go over together problems in a year around the 300 to 400. That might be maybe very sufficient as long as we try to thoroughly understand how to solve each problems. And it's good to also share our each perspectives. So that's and I think it's already very beneficial if we can just keep doing in this manner. So that just a birth rate of very basic Python, and by just using that, just try to solve the problems by using our resources and try to understand it thoroughly and just try to share when we just gather together. That's my first basic suggestion. But I have another suggestion to also work on it separately. But we, at least in this manner, we can develop our programming skills in a stable manner. So if you have any the suggestion or comments or anything else, please let me know, because I'd like to address another issue.
There are also online resources of those who did interviews for tech companies, finance companies, who tell you specifically what concepts to focus on, in particular, what questions from lead code to solve. There's something called the Blind 100, I think, and that gives you directed studying methods.
Got it. So that so depending on those problems, for example, so each participant should be able to link those problems to the internet, the context, some previous interviews or some reasonable solutions that one should look at it together, and so on and so on. But we can't decide it in the when we just discuss those specific problems. I think that's also good to mention. I agree. But in fact, so here is specific thing I actually want to talk about. So I want to make the participants in a totally different two backgrounds at the same time, in a sense that one might still want to pursue the pure mathematician career, but one want to change the career from one to the other, and one want to pursue the career in the industry. But it might be also the case that some of the the mathematicians that they define their self, they also want to come back to the academic, depending on their the interest and their the situation. And in order to do it, I want to make each participant to take the benefit from this study by just defining each project based on our each interest of the mathematics. Let me try to explain what I'm really thinking. So at least the participants that I assume for this study is I'm mostly having the PhD degree in pure mathematics in my the personal the expectation, so that so each of us already have our own mathematical taste. I think there should be no doubt of it about it. And at least the applied mathematical direction, of course, we care about the salary, career, and so on and so on. But at the same time, we are definitely care each the very specific character of the mathematics. So that what I want to do is we can try to define very specific the project, so that linked two things. One is our own the mathematical the objects that we care, and at least the direction of the machine learning. so that one should be able to define the machine learning like the project and aiming to develop some machine learning like the algorithm based on the each of mathematical like the expertise. So for example, so Karen, you are the expert of the elliptic curve for sure, so that it would be possible to just look at some elliptic curve papers in the direction of the machine learning. And you can just try to write the paper if you want it. And if we read the paper, I think the very common situation should be the following. So when we read the paper of the machine learning territory with the application from the elliptical, for example, then the mathematical language for us is not a big deal. It's actually a very easy piece of the like the understanding. The real issue is how to create those like the experiment, how to just find those data set, and how to really perform like the experiment. That's the real issue. And in that sense, by just looking at each like the specific articles, then we should be able to see which types of the programming like the skills or the which types of the project that we should work on in order to like the improve the known like the algorithms or the known like the I should just say algorithms. And if we know how to just re-perform those experiments, then we already know the mathematical languages, so that we should be able to improve those by using our expertise. Then we can choose whether or not we can write the paper in this direction. So that I'm not saying that it should be mandatory to just define the concrete project, but it would be very beneficial to just look at those articles to see whether or not which types of the experiment and the programming skills that we should learn for it, so that if it seems useful or if some of us are interested in, then we can just perform those like the programming, like the programming skills and the algorithms, so that we can just also recover the same like the performance or try to improve the like the performance. Then we should be able to write the paper. But if someone are very busy by just doing some like the project in industry or very busy for their own situation, that we can one can just skip about it. But I just leave that to just decide by themselves. But either cases, it's very good to like look at the each articles. That's the mixing area between the machine learning and each of us mathematical like the expertise, and try to present, and at least the participants can understand a part of the mathematics for sure, and we can really enjoy about it. And then after we just click what's the mathematical objects which was used in this like certain articles, and how they just make the data set for just making certain like the proof of the performance, then we should be also able to just learn those like the programming skills somehow together, or time we can also present about it. So I am, in fact, currently interested in the quantum computing, to be honest, because the complex geometry that I have worked on is closely related to the quantum mechanics, and there are the trying of the making the quantum mechanics for the computer like the languages or the like the performance like the perspective. That's the quantum computing by perspective, so that so if, for example, if you want to like to do any project regarding the elliptic curve and the machine learning, you can do your own for sure. But if we want to do some common project together, then for example, we might be able to define the project regarding the combination or the intersection of the elliptic curve, quantum computing, and the like the reinforced like learning and so on and so on. But then it would be very concrete enough to just look at very concrete algorithm. Then the very concrete skill what we should learn should be very it should be specified. So in that manner, so as long as we have like the enough time, like a half year or a year, then we should be able to like develop the skills. And if this is not really mandatory, so that if we want to just leave, so depending on our like interest, it's definitely fine. But in that manner, we can take the benefit, and also that gives us the motivation to just keep pursuing this study. So that's my current thinking. So it's some of the participants newly just joined, then they can first just read the certain like the Python articles for just very beginners, and just try to solve the lead code problems altogether. And after we just discuss about those problems in the weekly basis, then each of us can present in turn about each articles and try to just share. So in that manner, this is the way to enjoy the mathematics. Yeah, that's currently what I am thought about it. So please let me know if you have any suggestions or comments.
I think it's a good plan. Very good plan.
So just one thing. So I at least want many people join. So the language should be English for sure. And the time zone would be also matter, and also some of us might just very busy for the like their own like the situations like the from the universities or the industry. So I think it would be good to just have the regular study during the weekend. That might be better. And it depends on the participants for sure, but my like the initial thought is that we can just organize the weekly study each like the Saturday evening or Saturday night in the Eastern Standard Time. So that's currently my thing, because I assume even you just join the good company later, so that still you might have some time to think about it. So, but it would be also good to just make the study during the like the Saturday night if you want. But I mean Sunday night. So either Saturday night or Sunday night or the very early morning would be also okay with me. But so I think that time zone would be good for most of the time zone, in my opinion. But it can be changed depending on the participants like situations. Then if you have no objection, then I will or upload this like the conversation to my YouTube channel so that people can also see it, and we can start to study from next Saturday. So what we commonly do together is let us try to read all of them. I'm just not saying try to digest or understand. I'm just saying just read all of them as soon as possible in just a month, for example. So we initiate this study at the beginning of the July, so that it would be good to finish. I'm just saying, not just read it, not try to just understand it really thoroughly or digest some like the very like the hard concepts. Just try to read all of them in a month, so that at the end of the July we should at least read all of those articles. And meanwhile, I think we can independently just try to solve those problems, right? So that we can, for example, because next week is the first like the day of the study, so we can just, for example, just look at just three problems, for example, without like thinking much, so that we can try to see how we put the effort to in order to really understand those problems. But I think maybe 5 to 7 problems should be like the decent number to just keep studying in a stable manner. And after that, then if you do not have a specific like the articles to read, then I will just review certain articles of the mixing area of the quantum computing, elliptic curve, and the machine learning. And the purpose is to just see how the mathematical notions that we have, like the scale, would be actually used in those applied like the territory, so that we can just find some like the article might be fascinating. Then we should like ask ourselves that whether or not if we wanna like the try to just proceed like the experiment by ourselves, then which types of the programming skills that we should develop. Then we should also try to define what skills we can study. Then some of the skills we can also share during the study.
There's also curriculums for the different languages that,
So the link is not completely like the available.
yeah,
So
it's looks very bad. Okay, I'll
okay,
send.
let me try to.
So
Now it works. Are you talking about this one?
yes, so for example, there are curriculums that Code Academy has for different, let's say, languages. If we're going to focus on Python, I think the best is to do the most newest version of Python, Python 3. Um, so this gives you a quick kind of understanding of how Python works, things like strings, things like loops, things like dictionaries, other things like classes. But I would say that learning how to use the language is very important, but somebody with a good mathematical and rigorous background can make applications of these types of programming languages very quickly. So it takes only a little bit to learn the computer science, but having a good mathematical background will be very important in, your job or your research skills or any other project you want to work on.
I totally agree. So do you wanna look at this like the contents by yourself or no? So if you wanna do it, then we can also do it together. Why not? Of course, I would
No
still suggest
preference.
to read this together, at least for sure. But if you wanna also do this by yourself, then I can also do it individually, and we can just share how was it, and yeah, we can just share our understanding.
Yeah, typically, if I do this by myself, I like to take notes. If somebody
Mm-hmm.
wants to work with it, work on it with me, I'd be happy to do that too. But
Absolutely, yeah, that would be
yeah,
great.
these are fun. I've done them before, but I need a review. So
Sure, sure.
anybody can do them. We can do them together and compare notes, compare different styles. These are very good exercises.
Sounds good. Then yeah, uh so when the study initiate next week, then you can first present about your notes and the understanding of the Python and your the progress of understanding first, and then we can review the certain problems. Maybe we can just review those three problems for just for fun. And after that, I will present some like the articles regarding the elliptic curve, quantum computing, and some mixing territory there. So not just understand the article thoroughly, I just try to see which types of the direction we feel it seems fascinating to investigate, and then we can just look at it seriously.
Sounds like a very good plan. Yes.
Yeah. So in that sense, I just a last question. So what I am imagining is that if the structure of the study is well defined, then there would be many people can also join so that they can also develop the programming skills all together in this sense, and they can also take the benefit. So do you think so in this structure so that people can somehow freely join and try to develop their programming skills, and they can also take the benefit, yeah, independent of their situations? What do you think?
I think the more people is very good. Very good. Um, it would help to have more people. We can have different number of people solve these different questions on lead code, maybe Project Euler. And if we want to do a math project, a research question with a lot of people, I think we can do something like if we have a lot of people, we can generate a lot of data. And we need to find a way to store that data and compile that data. And
Mhm,
I've seen
mhm.
projects like this before with arithmetic geometry projects. There are databases online that collect information. It's very good.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can do many different types of projects. So there's two different ways we can do. We can do more computer science, more mathematical, but with a lot of people, it'll be very good.
I agree. Yeah, I highly agree. Okay, so then let me just stop the record here and try to advertise this record like the video so that some mathematician might join from next week, but we'll see. Okay, yeah, thanks for the conversation together.